Yeah.
Awesome. So we got Megan Lyons. She's going to talk about Revitalize and Relax essential supplements for managing stress. And I asked her to speak on this topic specifically because a lot of women have a lot of questions when it comes to supplements specifically. But let's talk about what we can do when it comes to stress. And her gift for you guys is a free initial wellness consultation, which I'll post that in the chat below. So, Megan, welcome. So happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, Pamela, and thank you to everyone who's here. I know this is a full time of year, but isn't every time of year such a full one? And I am really excited to share some tips with you today. So, what I'll do is share my screen. Can you give me a thumbs up, Pamela, if you can see that? Okay, fantastic. Really great. Now, like Pamela said, she asked me to present on supplements for stress management. And literally, my response to her was, well, I could make that presentation 5 hours long, but I'm not going to do that for you today. Good news. I'm going to get through this lickety split. I have a very interactive presentation style. So if anyone has questions that they put in the chat, I will interrupt myself as it's appropriate and get those answered. I'll also leave a few minutes of questions at the end. So please feel free to let me know if I can clarify anything as we go. My name is Megan Lyons. I will not read through every bullet on this slide. What I'll say is I own a functional nutrition practice.
All right, she'll come back on. We lost her.
Here.
There we go.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. We do. Yes.
I am
You're
so
back.
sorry about that. What would we do without a little technology glitch
That's
in the
right.
summit, right, Pamela?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for bearing with me. I hope that doesn't happen again. I'm not really sure what happened, but this slide won't take me a long time anyway. I own the Lion's Share Wellness, which is a functional nutrition practice based out of Dallas. I have a lot of bullets on here, but the most important thing is I love what I do every day. I feel so passionate about helping people find their way to wellness, which is why my podcast is called Wellness Your Way. And that really looks different for every single person. So we're going to talk about some of that today. But as we get into all the nitty gritty, I highly encourage you to take a deep breath. Just breathe in some hope, some pride in yourself that you made it here, you're listening, some excitement for what you're about to learn, and then big ol' exhale. Anything that's stressing you out so far today, let that go. Let's be as present as possible together. What I'm going to do today is define stress, talk about how supplements can help, go through my top, you know what, I changed this. I threw in two bonus for you. So top 7 stress management supplements. We'll talk about a few foundational habits and then questions. All that in 25 minutes. What is stress? The technical term for stress is allostatic load. So if you're ever doing some real science research on this, you can look up allostatic load. I think of allostatic load though as your stress bucket. So we're all born with a bucket. Those lucky people get born with a big bucket. Some people get born with a smaller bucket, but our job is to not let that bucket overflow. And what we think of as stress is just the emotional stuff, like, oh, my kids are driving me crazy, or finances, or something like that. That is mental stress and emotional stress. That is a big component of our allostatic load. But we also need to think about physical stress, the toxins that we breathe or put on our skin. Exercise can be a stress, either under exercise or over exercise is a stress on your body. Not having appropriate digestion is a stress on your body. Not getting adequate sleep, quality and quantity. We can't say, oh, yeah, I'm just in bed for 8 hours a night, so check the box. If you're not getting quality of sleep, that's a stress on your body. And then cellular stress is if your cells don't have all the rich micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals, and antioxidants, and all that good stuff, then your cells are under stress. They might have more oxidative stress, which is just a kind of subset of inflammation. And all of this stuff is filling up your bucket. But it's not all bad news because our bucket also drains. And things that drain our buckets are like mindfulness practices, time in nature, connection, sleep, nutrient dense foods, restorative movement, so many things that you'll be talking about through this summit. What I want to emphasize here is that supplements do help drain the bucket. So when we're filling it with emotional stress and physical stress and cellular stress and all the stresses, supplements can help drain that bucket, but they don't stop all the stress from coming in. So supplements are a really useful addition to your protocol as you're looking to decrease the stress burden, but they're not the one size fits all and only solution, meaning you can't take a supplement and say, oh, I don't have to worry about exercise, or I don't have to worry about my gut health. I don't have to manage my mental health. There's no supplement in the world that's that powerful. I wish there were. I wish, honestly, it were that easy. I would just tell you one thing and everyone would buy it and take it and we'd be stress free. But these are just things to help us mitigate all of that stress that's coming in. So those are kind of my caveats up front. Now, before I get into my top stress management supplements, I'm curious if anyone wants to venture a guess in the chat of what they think I'm going to include. What do you think some of my top stress management supplements would be? If anyone's brave enough to let me know, you can. If not, that's okay. Oh, we got some. Oh, wow. Oh, and I see some names that I'm familiar with. Hello, hello. You are correct. The two people who answered magnesium. I would almost venture to guess that I planted that in the audience. I did not, but that is absolutely true. Magnesium is my number one stress management supplement. I call it my desert island supplement, meaning if I had to go to a desert island and I could only take one supplement, it would absolutely be magnesium for me. My body loves magnesium. I feel so much better with magnesium. And one major reason is that it helps regulate our neurotransmitters, part of our nervous system, the little chemical messengers that lead us to be in a calmer state. So often throughout this summit and throughout my presentation, we'll talk about being in fight or flight, which is sympathetic nervous system, or rest and digest, which is parasympathetic nervous system. And when we're in that parasympathetic state, we get all this flood of calming neurotransmitters that really feels good and helps us reduce anxiety. And magnesium helps us calm down those sympathetic, those stressful neurotransmitters. It also reduces muscle tension. So you're thinking, okay, muscles, stress, how is that related? But remember, stress is physical stress too. And so if I have poor posture and I'm, gritting my teeth and looking at a computer like this all day, I can get this pain on the left side of my neck. It's like always there, unless I'm cautious about it. And magnesium really helps me with that as well. So that can be a stressor if I'm not aware of it. Those of us who cramp, whether it's menstrual cramps or exercise-induced cramps or Charlie horses, magnesium can help with that. Also supports sleep. If we're magnesium deficient, it's harder for us to get into that deep quality of sleep. The caveat here is to choose the correct format. There are lots of formats. If you've ever had a colonoscopy, you probably drank a bunch of magnesium citrate. That gives you diarrhea if you take too much. So we don't want to be doing that on a daily basis. There are many different formats. My personal favorite is magnesium L-threonate because that crosses the blood-brain barrier most easily. But glycinate is a really good option for people who are looking for multiple benefits. I don't sell any supplements and there's nothing to buy on this website, but if you just Google Lyons Share Magnesium, you'll see my breakdown of all the different types of magnesium if you're wanting to look for what type is best for you. Susan has a great question. How much should you take, and is morning or night better to take it? It is almost literally impossible to overdose on magnesium because your body's going to get rid of it through diarrhea. Like I said before, it will just increase bowel motility, but we don't want that. We want to take as much as we need until bowel tolerance. So what I say to people with sensitive digestive systems is start with about 150 milligrams. If that feels like, okay, maybe mild benefit, but I don't even know, and nothing changed in my bowel movements, increase. I personally take about 400 milligrams per night. I have clients who take up to 800 milligrams. I have people who feel great on just 100, or some people who don't need it, right? There are different, well, first of all, there are tons of foods that contain magnesium. Chocolate, my very favorite food. Leafy greens, very close second of my favorite foods. Pumpkin seeds, lots of different nuts and seeds, avocados, tons of whole foods contain magnesium. I personally eat a lot of those foods and I still require magnesium. Depends a little bit on the way your body processes things, how much stress you're under, things like that. But just start with that 150, increase to bowel tolerance. And the second part of that question was night or morning. I prefer to take it at night. That magnesium L-threonate, which is my preferred format, really helps for people who they fall asleep okay, but then they wake up in the middle of the night with their mind racing. That's me without magnesium L-threonate. And so I like to have it right a few hours before I would generally wake up, which is right before bed. If you take it during the morning or during the day, it's not going to make you tired. This is not melatonin, which alters your circadian rhythms. And I only recommend in very specific cases. This is just a relaxer. So some people prefer to take magnesium in the morning to get that relaxation benefit all throughout the day. It's really your call. I tell people experiment with it and see what feels best. So I did see another guess in there. Someone else guessed omegas, and you are also correct. That's not number two, but it is on my list. Number two on my list is L-theanine. So I put the picture of coffee up here in order to remind me that it's a good tell whether you'll benefit from magnesium if you're someone who gets jittery with coffee. If you have coffee and all of a sudden you feel like hyper excited, that's a great sign that you could use some L-theanine. L-theanine is found in green tea. So often those people who get jittery with coffee, they don't get jittery with green tea and they think, that's weird. It must not be the caffeine. Well, green tea naturally has this component called L-theanine in it, which helps balance that abrupt cortisol response and this neurotransmitter response that makes us jittery. L-theanine, even outside of green tea. So actually that's swap one. If you feel like I could use some stress management, just switch your coffee to green tea before you even consider a supplement and see if that works for you. But then if you're like, no, I just love my coffee, I still want it, or I don't even drink coffee and I still need help stress managing, then L-theanine as a supplement can be a great option. This promotes relaxation, just like magnesium, without sedation. This is not going to make you fall asleep. It's just going to make you relaxed. It promotes something called alpha brainwave activity, which is not sleep, but it's just kind of that like, oh, I'm in the zone. I'm not really fired up. I can think clearly. I'm alert, but I'm not stressed out, which is what we're all going for most of the time. It reduces anxiety, especially in stressful situations, and it actually enhances focus. So L-theanine can be considered a nootropic, which are those kind of magic brain supplements that improve cognitive performance and enhance our ability to focus. I'm intentionally not including any brand names in here because I don't sell supplements and we want to be really cognizant of just presenting information on the summit and not selling things. But if anyone is curious, I'll put my email address at the end. You're welcome to just email me and I'll give you my brand recommendations. Again, knowing that I don't sell any supplements. But you do want with supplements, you do want to look for good quality brands. So I highly encourage you, whether it's you email me or some other practitioner that you trust, or you maybe have an independent subscription to some lab testing company or something like that. I highly encourage you to look for good quality supplements because we don't just want to be adding stress to our bucket by having some poor quality ingredients putting into our body every day. All right, so that's number two. Number three here, the person who guessed it before was correct. Omega-3s for their anti-inflammatory properties. Yes, we can get a lot of omega-3s from fish over here, from walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds. There are so many great sources of omega-3s. However, in today's standard American diet, our intake of omega-6 fatty acids, which are the inflammatory kind, it's just too high. So a lot of people, unless they're really, really cognizant of eating a healthful diet, they do benefit from that omega-3 supplement. You can do a test. I run an omega panel on many of my clients who are questioning, do I need this or not? You can test in your actual blood cells and cell membranes to see what percentage of your fatty acids are the healthful kind. Or you could just focus on these omega-3 fatty acid foods, and or you could take a supplement and see if you feel any different. A lot of people who deal with joint pain, kind of puffiness in their hands or their face, or they have that nagging back injury or something like that, they might feel better after just a week or two of being on omega-3s because of that inflammation reduction, which is really powerful. We also know that it supports brain health. So lots of really good research looking into neurodegenerative conditions and cognitive decline, and the benefits of having adequate omega-3s. Can also stabilize mood and reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, which is, again, a common theme because what's more stressful than being anxious all the time? And then regulates our neurotransmitters. Those again are those chemical, little mini chemical messengers that are firing between the synapses of our nervous system or our nerves saying stress, 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 be on alert, alert. And the omega-3s help regulate and calm those down. All right. I am surprised, but also not surprised because I think these are still emerging.
Ashwagandha.
Yes, exactly. Pamela is on it, unsurprisingly. But adaptogens, I'm surprised no one guessed adaptogens. So I think of adaptogens, the very unscientific term, as magic balancers, because to me, that's how they work in our body. They technically work on the endocrine system and help normalize levels of hormones and neurotransmitters, but they're magic balancers. And here's what I mean by that. If we take an adaptogen and it's targeted towards, let's say, sex hormones, estrogen or something like that, and we have a low level, it's going to raise it. If we have a high level, it's going to lower it. It really is a magic balancer, which makes it a safer supplement to give than medication, which I'm very much not anti-medication. I like to start with other more natural options first. But a medication is unidirectional, meaning in everyone, it alters that neurotransmitter or hormone or whatever in one direction. An adaptogen is a balancer. Oh, Wendy says, can we get one more look at the last screen? Sure. Yeah. I am happy to. I'm not sure what our protocol here is, but I'm also happy to share the slides if that's beneficial to anyone, so that you don't have to be screenshotting all of this.
Yeah, you can
But
share the slides. That's fine.
okay, perfect. Yes, we'll figure out some way to do that. Or if you email me, again, my email address will be at the end. I'm happy to share them. Okay, so these adaptogen magic balancers, there are so many adaptogens. I'm highlighting here my three favorites, but really that's like, choosing your favorite chocolate bar or favorite. I'm not even going to say favorite child because that's too drastic, but favorite chocolate bar, it's too hard. So ashwagandha is one of my favorites. It reduces cortisol so much so that I'll just put the caveat out there. If you have done any kind of saliva cortisol testing, which we like to run in our clients, or you know that you're in a real phase of burnout, deep, deep, deep burnout, ashwagandha might even not be recommended because it does have more of that calming effect, and you might want something to boost you up. Ashwagandha improves our stress resilience, so it makes us better at encountering the challenges that we go through in our daily life. Rhodiola reduces fatigue. So this one can be mildly energizing. It's not caffeine. It's not going to feel the same as a double shot of espresso, but it does reduce kind of that low level. I feel like I can't really get out of bed. I need a nap all day long, and enhances our mood and well-being, improves cognition as well. And then holy basil. By the way, it is best if we rotate on and off these adaptogens. So that leads me into what I was going to say with holy basil. I get so excited every time I bring holy basil back into my rotation because I really feel great with this one. This, in my mind, is a great supplement for those people who are hard driving, high achiever, go, 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 go. It's not going to take the edge off so much that you're, can't get out of bed. We don't want that, but it just kind of lowers that high level go, go, go slightly and makes me feel really, really great. It provides support to downregulate our nervous system, which takes it down a notch, helps us get into that parasympathetic rest or digest. So these are some to consider: ashwagandha, rhodiola, holy basil. But again, there are so many more adaptogens. So again, nothing to sell there, but if you Google Lyons share adaptogens, I'll take you through my top 10 adaptogens. Today, we only have three of my favorites. Next one, some people consider this an adaptogen, but it's actually an herb that's not technically an adaptogen, depending on the definition. This is valerian. Valerian tea is getting very common, as these sleepy teas and sleepy time teas and whatever else they're called. A lot of them have valerian herb in there because it's very calming. And that's great, obviously, for promoting sleep. So valerian is another one I would recommend taking right before bed if you're going to use it, and less so in the morning. It can reduce anxiety and nervousness, soothes tension, physical and mental. So this one works both on our musculoskeletal system and our nervous system, which is very cool. Valerian can be a great addition, kind of like the next step. If someone says, okay, magnesium's great, I feel better, but I'm still considering melatonin, I might then layer in valerian for them as well to help them get into good quality sleep. Now, no one guessed probiotics, but I bet you're starting to hear these days about the connection between the gut and the brain. This is a huge connection. In fact, it's the largest cranial nerve in your body, the vagus nerve, going between your gut and your brain. And they are sending messages, they, meaning your neurotransmitters, are sending messages downwards, meaning if your brain is stressed out, then it tells your gut, oh, now is not the time to digest appropriately. We've got craziness going on up here. Let's just turn off the non-essential digestive functions. And that's why people with chronic anxiety, stress, depression, etc., often have more IBS-like symptoms: constipation, diarrhea, bloating, etc. But the messages also go up. A lot of the serotonin, over 70% of the serotonin, that happy hormone or neurotransmitter in your body, is manufactured in your gut, not your brain. So when your gut health is good, then you get messages going up saying, okay, we don't have to be so anxious over here. Everything's good down in the gut. You can proceed as normal, no high alert needed. So this support is very cool. And probiotics help support that healthy gut, which then allows the serotonin production and makes us feel better. There are certain strains of probiotics. Strains means like if you turn over your probiotic bottle and it has all these words in italics. It says Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium bifidum and whatever, all these kind of long sounding words that are all in italics. These are strains of probiotics. And the reality is we have hundreds, thousands of strains in our body. Each probiotic company is taking a guess and saying, ooh, I think these 15 are the most important, so I'm going to put them in here, or these 5 or whatever. And that's why different probiotics have different impacts on different people. But there are certain strains of probiotics that are now being shown in research to reduce anxiety. And then enhances mood. By supporting that healthy gut microbiome, which is those bacteria, we can improve our stress resilience. All right. Last but not least is B complex. So when we're thinking about stress, B complex doesn't often enter the picture because B complex is known as an energizing supplement. It does support energy production. So when people have fatigue, I often check their B vitamins, even maybe their MMA, which is a metabolite of B vitamins. But if you have tried a B complex before and you felt more energy, okay, great. That's a sign that your body was low in B vitamins prior, which also impacts something called methylation, which is basically a process that is happening every single moment, every single second, thousands, probably millions of times in your body. This is essential for everything that your body is doing, from producing energy to producing neurotransmitters, which is why B complex supports the nervous system as well. And remember, nervous system is what regulates our stress. It also reduces symptoms of depression in research. So B complex, if you are vegetarian or vegan, you'll definitely be wanting to supplement with a B complex, unless for some reason you're eating tons of nutritional yeast, which is one of the only vegan formats of B complex. But it also comes in eggs, meat, all kinds of other animal-based foods. So some people don't need this. And that's a good reminder for me to tell you, I am very much not saying if you are a stressed out person, start all of these 7 supplements tomorrow. That's probably overkill for most people. But I am saying maybe one of these bullets resonated with you more than others. And that could be a good one to try. Maybe we layer in 1 or 2 at the beginning based on the symptoms that I discussed, and then build from there. We never want to go too crazy with supplements. I believe in the minimum effective dose, meaning I personally take supplements every single day, but I don't want to take 75 supplements, even if only all of those 75 have been shown in the research to help. I really want to optimize based on my lab work, my symptoms, my body, my dietary intake, my activity level, what's working for me. Okay, so what I'm not going to do is take you through every single moment, every single bullet of these foundational habits. Again, I'm happy to share these slides with anyone who is curious, but I will just remind you about each one of these slides, because remember, supplements are at the top. The foundational habits are here. If you're constantly doing caffeine, alcohol, caffeine, alcohol, caffeine, alcohol to start the day and end the day, no supplement in the world is going to overcome that. So watch your substances that are supporting or harming your stress. Watch your blood sugar stability. Blood sugar is a major source of stress. So really focus on learning more about your blood sugar stability. Prioritize sleep quality. I'm going to share a bunch of these things, which we all know: limiting the blue light, getting in a cool, quiet, dark room. This is very important because stress is critical for sleep is critical for managing stress. Those of you who have met me before know that I am huge in a morning routine. A morning routine is so important for just taking those 8 minutes. My morning routine starts with 8 minutes. I actually do a little bit longer, but I teach people to start with 8 minutes. And getting those minutes for yourself every day is so important to reduce. This is the only bullet in the whole presentation that's made up, by the way. NTFM syndrome is no time for me syndrome. So there's no science backing this bullet, but that's what I felt. NTFM syndrome, no time for me, before I started the morning routine. I'm sure someone on the summit has talked about exhaling and the power of really breathing deeply for stress, and then movement and getting exercise is so important for stress management. And then finally, this is the last slide before I'll take questions. I say life can feel like this never-ending treadmill unless we add some variety to the day. So instead of just work, sleep, eat, work, sleep, pay the bills, work, sleep, whatever, I help people Add some variety intentionally. You might have played that game Roses and Thorns with your family where everyone shares one rose, something that went well, and one thorn, something that was hard during the day. I like to set number one goal for the day and then really celebrate it when I accomplish that. I also like to just check in with myself for 10 seconds throughout the day. Hey, how are you feeling right now? Get out of autopilot mode and really check in with yourself. So, all of these things are foundational for stress management. All right, that was a whirlwind. Like I said, I'll put my information up here, and that link that Pamela already put in the chat will give you access to my free gift. But I do have, let's see, 2 minutes for questions if anyone has any. Feel free to put in the chat or unmute yourself if you prefer. Oh, we got silence.
Excellent presentation. Thank you so much, Megan. Lots of
Thank
great
you.
supplements.
Yes, thank you, Pamela, for putting on this amazing summit. And thank you to everyone for attending. What a wealth of information you're getting over 2 days. This is really cool.
Magnesium is my go-to.
Yes, your desert island supplement as
Gotta
well.
have
Oh,
gotta have my magnesium and my omegas, my fish oil.
yes. Those are, if I'm going to a deserted island, I can only bring one. So I'm going to
Right.
choose magnesium. But if I could add another, it would probably be omegas. I do see one question. Have you ever seen anyone who has depression where these supplements helped more than antidepressants? Okay, I'm going to be careful with how I answer this question, but you worded it very appropriately. So thank you for that. Yes, I have seen several people. I'll use myself as an example. I was medicated for depression and anxiety for a number of years in my late teens and early 20s. And my lifestyle changes have helped me overcome that much better, including diet, supplements, morning routine, stress management, all the things have helped me more than antidepressant medications did in the past. So it's been maybe, I don't know, 15, 17 years since I've been off those, and I feel better than ever. I also feel extremely grateful that those existed at the time. That was a great option for me then, and I think a great option for many people. And then the research would also bear that out, that exercise in almost every study that I've seen outperforms antidepressant medication. So that's a great place to start. Also, layering in things like gratitude. And then some of these supplements, omega 3s in particular, do bear out in the research to be just as or more effective. So I will never tell anyone to go off of medication without guidance from their practitioner. Please be careful about that. But it could be something to talk to them about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you, everyone.